Okay, so we're live here today. We're going to start with a word of prayer, and uh, before we talk to our guests for today, and let's just say a word of prayer together. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. We ask that through this word that will come out today, the twins and teens will be blessed, and they will emerge from the current fires they are in into greater faith. Lord, we ask that you strengthen us. In Christ's name we have prayed. Amen. Yeah. So we're gonna have one of this is our maiden edition of Emerge. So it's twins and teens emerge, and I'll just give a brief intro. It's something that was inspired by the three Hebrew boys. If you're familiar with the Bible, when they stood their ground in the midst of fire and God showed up for them. So at the end of the situation, they emerged into greater faith for themselves and for the community. So if you follow that story, the even the king was able to say that the God needs to be served. So this is where this is coming from. And I believe that this is something that God is doing in this season, and it's going to reach the young people. So if you have any young person in the age range of 10 to 15, please do let them join. Do share this link with them and let them join. So of course, and if you're watching this the replay of this video, please like, share, subscribe, and share with people around you that they might be blessed. So I will just introduce our guests for today, and it's very interesting. Is our first guest is the this is the maiden edition, and I've shared this with him a number of times, and he shares this vision. He is currently involved with teenagers and young people across Nigeria and even across the world, and he currently leads a part of the uh, business in a multinational based currently in Nigeria, and he's spirit filled, I can say, and he is willing really to share of his own um, learnings as we go into this. So, drum rolls as we bring up our guest for today. So, he's none other. I call him, just permit me to call him brother or Mr. Okpe Yemi Adetunji. We call him OP Money for short. So, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for being a friend, a brother, and for seeing this. We've talked this more than 6 months at the minimum, but it's good that
Mm,
it's coming to life right now. So we had many things, but I'm sure that this is something wants to do, and He wants to do it through us. So I'm so happy
yes,
to
yes, yes.
invite you here and to have you on this journey with us. And this is just the first time, but there'll be many more times that you're going to join us. So thank you so much.
Amen.
Welcome,
Amen.
Mr.
Thank you very
Okwe
much.
Adit.
Thank you very much, my
Yeah.
pastor.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much. Okay. So I'll just give you a few minutes to just introduce yourself. Just tell us the things about you in your teenage years and now. So that let's start from there.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Though there's some echo, but
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. 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 Whatever part of the world, good day, everyone. It's evening in Nigeria. So good day, everyone. My name is Okwemi Adetunji, and it's a privilege to be here. Just to say thank you very much. Our conveners, there are two here, so but one is showing a video, the other is just showing a picture, right? So thank you very much. It has been one of the key things that growing up has triggered in my heart or in my head whichever one, to see how we could help teenagers to be better people. So I think that will be later. So just to say, I'm still a teenager, right? Yeah. So I'm still a teenager, and growing up, it's when we see how things have been done and how our parents have really, really tried their best to help shape our lives to be better in currently how we are right now. I think it's very important that we also, with the leading of God, help people coming behind us. And it has been a good journey, even if yes, ups and downs. You have people that are against the vision because wait a minute, even Jesus had people against him while he was here on earth, right? So I think while we go through the conversations, I would be able to share more about my journey, right? I think it has been a very impactful one. I've had people, I know their names on top of my head. They are still living right now. That were really great impacts to me as a person and to my friends. Like I still have friends that we grew up together in teenage church. We are still very close together. We are still very close right now, and we are still knitted together in love. So I think for now, I think I don't know how to introduce myself though, but I think
Okay,
that's the
yeah.
best way to
So
introduce
that
myself.
that
Yeah,
works. That works. So thank you so much
yeah.
for that brief introduction. So we're going to start this way. Like we're talking to preteens and teenagers because between 10 and 15,
Mm,
you ideally would have formed what you want to do in life, how you want your life to pan out. But between 10 and 15, you now start making decisions based on those formative years that you have
mm.
gone through. So that's why we are focusing on 10 to 15. Now, let's just go back memory lane for you. So can you describe how was your teenage years? What were the things that you could recollect and those kind of decisions that you had to make in your preteen years and in your teenage years that you believe formed your life now? So what are those things that you can just recollect, those interactions you had? We will come to the people that formed you, but let's start
Mm.
with what's your recollection?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I think I can actually act a video or write a script about my teenage years right now because
Okay.
when you have great impact while growing up, there's no way you can actually forget the level of impact you've had. So I remember very vividly, I think maybe between 10 and 11, my mom's younger brother had to call me and say, right, what is your 5-year plan? What's your 20 years plan? Where do you see yourself in next 10 years? Aside that, as maybe a developmental goal for myself, I also had things to do in church. So I was in a choir in church, even as a teenager. Even if right now they will say I don't have a voice, right? But as a teenager, we had voices, right? God
Okay,
was listening to our voices. So I
that
was,
part that
I was
part is hard to understand though. But let's go ahead.
well,
Okay.
actually, but I had a voice then, but now maybe my voice is to talk to
Yeah,
teenagers, right? So, but we
yeah.
had a voice. Um, we were able to sing. I think I was a treasurer in my teens department then. So that tells a lot about maybe me being a treasurer after some years. But it was so going up between 10 to 15. I think one of the very serious things that helped shape is the impact. There's no way. Yeah, we'll talk about the people later, but it's the level of impact we had and how people
Mm,
were
mm,
able to help us see that our future will be determined by the actions we took then. So as a 10 to
mm,
15-year-old person, your future is determined by the actions you take while you are still 10 to 15. Yes, you still make decisions when you are 16, 17, 18, but you're getting into a young adult by that time. But as a 10 to 15-year-old person, you are still making a lot of mistakes. Your parents are still pampering you. Your parents are still taking care of you. So it's a lot, and it's part of the reasons why am I'm a li- I'm happy to join Pastor Femi in this journey because really, when you see 10 to 15 years old people today, there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and there are a lot of things that go wrong in that stage of their life. So for me, it was a very impactful space in my life. It's one of the things that helped me to shape. So if I know that currently, I don't know how many people know that I was in medical school. So from 10, 11-year old, I was already reading books about medical doctors because I felt that I knew at that point that I wanted to be a medical doctor. So that also helped to see what are the things I needed to do, what are the class subjects I needed to take serious in school, what are the things I needed to do even in church, right? So, and taking accepting Jesus Christ at that early stage was very, very impactful because it also helped to filter the kind of people you had around you. It helped to filter the kind of friends I had. It helped to filter the kind of conversations we're going to have. It helped to filter the kind of events I was going to go to. So yes, school they do. I think we used to do prom nights then. We used to do what they call that thing that end of school dance. I was never involved in such things. So those decisions about following Christ, which is very, very important, that decision about following Christ and knowing Christ at that point helped to bring people of like minds. It helped to filter. So even if yes, they'll call you SU, they'll call you pastor. Even if yes, that time I was rejecting pastor since then, right? The name pastor, but they'll call you pastor. But it felt good because when someone is hearing 200 miles away and saying this person is called pastor, it helps to shape the kind of conversations you want to have to that person in the next 2 days or next 3 days.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's
Yeah.
speak on something that you said. You talked about between 10 and 11 having a 5-year goal. Did I hear you correctly?
Mm. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
that is not normal for a 10 to 11-year old. So can you tell
Man, I
us
was
what did
worried.
you write? What did you write? What was your 5-year goal as of 10 and 11? Let's just can you
Oh,
give us a sneak peek into it?
okay. So I knew that in next 5 years, by
Hmm.
at 10, I was already in GS1. I don't
Okay.
know what they call it, but it was the first school in college, right? The
So
first class
like
in college,
that's
right?
that's like in that's like you're getting into middle school. If it's in US setting,
Exactly.
you're
So I knew,
getting to middle
yeah.
school. Okay.
So I knew that in the Nigerian setting, in next 5, 6 years, I'll be in the university. So,
Mm.
so it meant that where do I see myself in next 5 years? So I knew that in next 5 years, I want to get into the university. The norm, it was not normal for people to leave secondary school then because we saw the trend. You have to stay at home maybe 1 year,
Okay.
jam does something to you and everything. So, but there was to write it down. I don't know. I lost the paper. I lost the sheet of paper because it was written. It was actually written down,
Wow.
black
Wow.
and white. In fact,
Wow.
I had to laugh over it today when I went for a session also with students today, and it was written there the kind of woman I wanted to marry, like
Wow.
in next how old I wanted to get married. So remembering the age I got married, it helped me to look. I went back and I saw, oh wow, I actually wrote this thing down when I was 10 year old.
Wow.
I got married at the age of 30, and 20 years later, I got married. So that helped to say, this is where I wanted to be in next 5 years. So I wanted to be in medical school. So what did I need to do now? I needed to take my science subject serious. I needed to take reading serious. I needed to also take God serious, right? So those things, it was weird though, right? Like somebody waking you up and telling you write your 5-year goal. Man, I'm 10-year-old. Why are you asking me for 5 years, man? I need to
Mm.
enjoy my. But I now I appreciate what was done to me then. In fact, it was my younger one. I think my immediate younger brother that is medical doctor now was 8 then or 7 then. He too had to write what he wanted to do in next 5 years or next 10 years. It was
Wow.
looking like it was play, but in a way, it helped to shape. So you go back, you look at it. This is my plan. I need to do this. I need to do this before so and so. Yes, you may not really get to that point, but it helps to give you direction. So it gave me a lot of direction growing up. So when
Mm.
people are
Okay.
playing, you are reading. When people are playing ball, yes, you play ball, but you know that I have a plan next 5 years.
Have
I
a
need to get
plan.
into
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
in next 5 years.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for sharing. So first thing I picked, like you had a goal, you had a
yeah.
plan that when you were 10 to 11. Wow. I think everyone should learn from this. Like you're not even talking what you want to be next year. You're talking a 5-year plan. The other thing I
Mhm.
heard you mention is you started paying attention to your relationship with God. Can you let us in a little more
Mm.
about that?
Okay, so I gave my life to Christ December 1999. Yes, I recall it very vividly because it was in Bagada in Lagos, and so we saw a lot of things happening, right? So you'd
So
even if as a
that's in
young
Southwest
person,
Nigeria.
that's southwest Nigeria, yes.
Yeah, got
So the center of excellence for people that center of excellence. So then you could see older people and you could see a lot of things going wrong, right? And if you want to picture the kind of life you want to live, as even if you were young, like what's the worst that could happen? You already saw what the worst could happen, like in the lives of people. So, but it was a turnaround time for me. I think I was in, like I said, 1999, and I knew that a decision needed to be made if I actually wanted to, or I actually want to go the right direction. A decision needed to be made, right? And that was the turnaround for me. So it was a like they do in church. Oh, the altar call wants to give their life to Christ, right? I didn't need to think twice. No pastor needed to cajole me to say you go to. It was not an issue of I want to go to heaven. I don't want to go to hell. It was an issue. It was a fact that I needed something supernatural to guide me through this journey because I knew at that point that you saw people, you saw uncles, you saw older people around your environment. They were getting it wrong, and you always knew that the difference was the relationship with God. And but like I said, the uncle that I had then made the difference because you will see that this person is in these guys are the same age. So what's the difference? You easily know. It's not because both of them didn't go to this guy didn't go to school. They all went to school, but a difference was this guy had a relationship with God. Growing up, you could hear when he's having his morning devotion, he's singing. And I'm like, man, we are trying to watch cartoon here, 10-year-olds. Like,
Why are you disturbing
but
our life, man?
why are you disturbing our vibes? Like, so critical that I saw an example, right? Not just, we could always almost forget the example we see in our parents sometimes because we feel that it's
Yeah.
just a normal way of life because we feel, yeah. So, but I saw a vivid example of somebody that took God serious and the impact it had in his life. And that was a turnaround for me. And immediately that happened, it almost immediately shaped the kind of people that were around me because something has changed. Now you're attending an event different from what everybody is attending.
Yeah.
And that time we used to have Bible club in school, right? We used to have Bible club. So when people are going for, clubs and societies, some people are going for chess club, some people are going for dance club, some people are going for sports club. But imagine a young guy, you're supposed to be running, you're supposed to be having fun. You are going for Bible club. And that's helped to shape a lot of things that are happening in my life right now. And I appreciate God for helping me see that light at that young age.
Glory to God. Glory to God. Okay.
Yeah.
So, two things we have established. First is your you're having a plan, so God bless your father that asked you for that plan. Having a plan, first thing, like a 5-year plan as a 10-year-old. Wow,
Mm.
that is massive. That's massive. So thank God for your father. Please just extend our regards to him. So and I think for us young parents is something we need to learn. For the young people, you
Yeah.
need to learn that have a 5-year plan, not just a 1-year plan. And
Mm.
then the second thing you mentioned is your relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to note that, not like when other people were doing plenty of stuff, right? When other people were doing plenty stuff, you were still following God, and you were doing things that were right with God. So it's important that we all learn from that. So personally, I've learned those tips that you mentioned. Okay. So while our guest reconnects, I will just continue to talk a bit about Emerge. Uh, so if you're on the call or you're watching this much later, just drop us an emoji just to let us know where you're watching us from. If you're watching much later, drop something, like, subscribe, and follow us on our social media handles. We are at Twins and Teens Emerge. Twins, that is TWEEN. Twins and Teens Emerge at whatever handle. So on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, we are at Twins and Teens Emerge. So on YouTube as well. So watch all those videos. We're going to also follow these broadcasts with multiple tips and snapshots from whatever we have talked about. So we're going to go back and talk to our guests right now. So you're welcome back. Yeah. So confirm if you can hear us.
I didn't even notice I was out of this session.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, apologies for that.
Yeah, you're welcome back. Okay. So we're just saying like you talked about having a 5-year goal, even as a 10-year-old. Like that's massive for me, man. And then you talked about the fact that you had your relationship with God. And then you mentioned your relationship with people,
Yeah.
the uncles around you. So even though you could not see the example of your father, you could see the example of your parents, right? But it was coming more alive to you in a younger person than your parents, that you could see and see how they were relating with God. So with those three things. So it's important to thank you for bringing those things up. So I wanted to ask you, as you grew up, did you were there negative influences? Were there other relationships that you had to cut off from while you were in that same time space that you talked about?
Yeah, I would say yes, because and it was more of morals were not connecting. There was no connection between the morals so while you are in school, everyone is your friend, everyone is your classmate. So
Yeah,
you could easily call everybody your friend, but in the way morals work or habits work, right? It fizzles out. So a
yeah,
circle is almost formed without
yeah,
you saying I don't want to be your friend again, because also that person knows that he can't be in that circle only if he wants to be influenced positively by that circle. So
yeah,
I know people that right now, yes, growing up, we're connecting, but the connection is not there. It's just LOI, right?
okay,
So moving from 10 to 11 to 12 to 13 to 14 to 15, I would say it was more of the moral, what I stood for. I did not need to vocally mention that, hey, or put a placard on my head, I'm a child of God, right? My moral, my attitude, my behavior was revealing that. And when that happens, it's like a magnet. You cannot attract that kind of person, and that person cannot attract you. So it helps to create a divide.
yeah,
So I will not say they are bad people in quotes, right? I will say that we are not aligned in terms of virtues and morals.
yeah.
So
And
we
then
needed to
so
move
that
apart.
value that you were holding kind of created it limited the kind of people that you were attracted to or that were attracted to you.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
Because
So
yeah.
that's the third tip that I'll take from here. Like when you design certain things, when you create boundaries for yourself, then it will
Mm-hmm.
limit the people that are able to reach you. So vices would not be able to reach you because you have created a boundary for yourself in that regard.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
good,
yes.
good. Thank you so much for sharing. So, like I was saying before, if you're watching this video much later, just like, subscribe, and watch out for more videos of. We're going to have many more sessions of this, trying to help our young people navigate through the fires into stronger faith. Yeah. So let's go on. Let's go on. So thank you so much for sharing that level of detail. Right now, I wanted to ask you, like, in that, did you face challenges?
Man,
Yeah. So did you face challenges, and what kind of challenges were there? And so there are three questions in one. So what kind of challenges, and what can you draw a parallel between those challenges and then and now? So in this age, so if I take a 10 to 15-year-old, some wonderful guy, Brian, in, for example, in middle school, or Shemilore in high school, facing all manners of challenges. Tope in the university is 15, is just navigating through life. You know, uh, the challenges you faced then and now,
Mm.
is there are there similarities? And then which one do you think is more? Let's start from there.
So okay, so it's a twist, right?
Okay.
So I feel that challenges come with life,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Right. So whether you are a child of God or you are, I'll not say child of Satan like we do in Sunday school, but you are not in line with God, right?
yeah, yeah.
Challenges will always come. But the difference is the assurance you have as a child of God. So yeah, so if I'm 10 to 15, when I was 10 to 15, most of the challenges were, I would not say they are childhood challenges, right? Because when you see, for example, what is happening, it has to do with, can you compromise? For example, I the challenge is still now when I'm an adult, right? I'm an adult now, but as a child, also as a teenager, you also have that challenge of, can you compromise? Very little things. So can I compromise in terms of, oh, somebody asked me a question in exam? It's very, that was very popular because somebody's beside you, ask you, person tries, maybe in his head he forgets something, he just needs a clue from you. It's a compromise. Compromise of very little things about, oh, don't let us, you say is half truth, right? But can we can we tell the teacher this? So things about lies, things about um so as young as we were exposed to drinking, right? People drinking around us, we're exposed to people smoking around us,
Yeah.
we're exposed to um people womanizing around us, we're exposed to people compromising in terms of exam malpractice around us. So is something like that not happening now? It's happening now. So, but the reality is, and one thing that struck, I think, while we're in teens class is, um, one person, Pastor Mrs. Agbara, right? Evelyn Agbara. So one thing she helped us to memorize is First Timothy 4 verse 12, where it says, "Don't let anyone despise you because you are young." Was set
Yes.
an example for the believers in love, in charity, in speech, in conversation. So that was always ringing in my head to say, I'm not going to be despised because I'm young. People want to put you down because when you know that majority of people want to compromise in class, right? So this is the truth, but this is not what the truth wants to stand. This is not what they want to stand for. While they are faced with issues in school or faced with issues around the home, right? So, but that thing of, yes, even if they will call you, you are a snitch, because that's what is popular now. Oh, that guy is a
Yes.
snitch. You know, he's
Yeah.
slide is a snitch. Like that kind of thing. So, but standing for the truth helps also to attract people that necessarily were not even in between. They were like, oh, where should I stand? It helps you to attract and also pull people to Christ. At that young age, we knew that we're ambassadors of Christ,
Yeah.
right? Because we're taught. Not this one is not like, well, this session we're having now, and I feel that every teenager should subscribe to this. When the webinars are coming on, they should always attend this, because most of the things is coming into this kind of interactions, you hear things. So we had opportunities of interacting with people, we had opportunities of going out, having interactions. So the Bible actually made the difference, because when you read the Bible, you see a lot of things that can make you stand. But the reality is, man, when you are 1 in 100 or 2 in 300 or 2 in 10 or two in 20, but because you know that you are for Christ, and because you know that you have a goal, because it's that goal next 5 years that you are looking at, and you don't want anything to truncate it or to destabilize it, because you just want to comprise for just one little moment. So I think that's what caused that's what made the difference. The challenges are there, no matter how old. Our parents today have challenges, right? In terms of compromise,
Yes.
they are tempted to compromise on one thing or the other. It is across the age, across all ages.
Mm. Okay. So thank you so much. So you have said that the challenges exist and they will always be there no matter how old you are. So do you want to help us with what we talked about, the temptation to go into vices, to go into drugs, to go into drinking, alcoholism, to go into womanizing. Some people, the temptation to go into prostitution because, for example, you have some different websites that promote those things. That push, that temptation to go into different types of vices, exam malpractice, as simple as it may sound, or just doing things that we know are not proper. So you're saying that those temptations will be there no matter the age you're in. So whether you're 10 or you're 15 or you're 50, those temptations will be there. Did I summarize that correctly? Yeah, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So I'm saying that we need to. I'm just summarizing what you've said. Now, in those
Okay.
challenges, are there particular ones that stand out for you that you feel, oh, God helped me through this? Is there anyone like that?
Okay. So the first thing, like I said, is
Okay.
10 to 15, you are more of school
Yeah.
than a 35-year-old person that is work. So,
Yes.
and so the temptation then was examination malpractice.
Mm, mm.
And one of the things I did then that I also do now is because you cannot easily control who is going to sit beside you,
True.
but you can control when you enter and ensure that sometimes when people are entering, the mediator will just say, yeah, you come and sit down in front. So, and also even when you get to the space where this person will eventually sit beside you. I remember when I think it was SS2, yes, and there was a guy sitting beside me, and he kept asking, kept asking, kept asking. Even when I knew that at the end of this exam, it's going to be a chaos to say you're a bad person. You understand? You guy, you're a bad person. I still stood the ground and I ensured that this did not happen. The second thing is you are in an environment where drinking is not, it's like when people are drinking water, right? And and it is not something of at that point. These are people that you are looking up to in terms of how they are making it in life. Let's take out the vices they are going, they are participating in or they are doing. There are people that you are looking up to say, this guy finished school, he got this, he got that. This guy is driving a good car. And when did he finish school? That kind of thing. But you also know because the kind of relation circle you have. That's why it's important that I mention it again that the circle of friends that are around you, if at all something is trying to take you out of that
Yeah.
space, it
Can
draw
you
you
hold
back.
on? Can you unmute your? We have a number of people on. We have a number of people joining us on Google Meet. If you can unmute your mic and turn down the volume a bit so that it doesn't echo. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me do
So
that.
okay.
Can people hear me on Google Meet?
Yeah, I believe we can hear you. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I've got
okay.
some emoji here. Yeah. So before we go ahead, hey, Amalaya, welcome, and Olumide, welcome. So thanks for joining. Do you want to tell us where you're joining from? Just drop it in the chat, and then we'll just run something quickly before we go ahead. So if you would you just drop where you're joining from in the chat group? Oh, okay. So we have Olumide joining from Nigeria, and Omalaya, would you tell us where you're joining from? And let us know if you have more than one person joining with you. So uh, we'll go through. We'll drop some Slido links in the chat if you have any question, so that we can take them. Yeah. So we were just talking about a few things. Let me just recap. We go ahead. So first thing we've learned from Mr. Okpeyemi Adetunji's history so far is at 10 to 11 he had a 5-year plan. I had no, there was no way I was going to have a 5-year plan when I was 10, right? So, like, I salute his father for help pushing that, right? So he tells you if you are 10 and you don't have a 5-year plan, you need to learn from this conversation. The second thing he told us so far is that he's got his relationship with God going. That 10 to 11 is somewhere around when you're going into middle school, when you're going to the secondary school for those in Nigeria. And knowing God, your relationship with God is so important. And the third thing he told us so far is that his the relationship is so around him. So he had an uncle that he will see worshiping God, he will see doing things, and he could learn from that. So that is different from learning from your parents. So it's important that you learn from your parents, but it's also good that you surround yourself. Look out for good examples around you. That way, you are able to learn and you're able to move forward. So the fourth thing we've talked about as well is creating a boundary around you. So he gave us an example where his the values he drove, the values he put together, the values he was driving, the values he was exhibiting prevented certain kinds of people from coming around him. So and the topic we're talking about now is about challenges that you would face in this phase. And one thing to establish is that whether you are 10 or you are 15 or you are 50, we all have temptations. We all face temptations. We all face situations. We all face challenges. It is just for you and I to overcome them. So that's the thing that I wanted us to talk about. So I see that you are off on StreamYard. So if you want to join back again, Mr. Opayemi. Let me just check that. Okay, yes, you are. So I'll be
Okay.
back. Okay, cool. Now, so we're going to the next set of things, but before, I would just like to take a break and talk about the twins and teens, um, what's about, and what we are trying to do. So we're trying to. It's a session for us to engage anyone in the range of 10 to 15 and anyone that works with those groups of people. So we're going to have people that are less than 40 that will just share from their own life experiences on how to navigate this situation. So it's we are on our social media handles as Tweens and Teens. Tweens with EE and Teens with EE. So Tweens and Teens emerge. So it's a place where twins and teens emerge from fires into faith. And like I said before, it's inspired by the three Hebrew boys that transformed from a place of fire into faith. And their faith did not only affect them, it affected the entire community in which they lived in. So we're going to have people from all over the world joining this session. So I'm so glad to continue this conversation with Mr. Okoyemi Adetunji. We call him OP Money. So thank you so much. So we've learned a couple of things and we'll just proceed from there. So we'll drop some Slido links in the chat group. So you could just go ahead and drop your questions ahead. Oh, Omolayo, thank you for joining. So Omolayo is joining us from Ibadan, Nigeria. So thank you so much for joining. I'll drop the Slido links in the chat group, and then you can just use that for questions, and we can move on from there. So let's go to the next question while we go ahead. And by the way, you can drop your question in the chat group if you have any questions. We have only a few minutes to wrap up, and then we'll move on from here. So by the way, our next session will be on July 12th. July 12th, we're going to be having one of our friends. We're going to be having Dr. Ojima Wada. So
Wow.
he's currently a researcher in Qatar. So he'll be joining us live July 12th, same time. So please spread the news and watch out for these videos on our social media streams at Tweens and Teens Emerge. At Tweens and Teens Emerge. So I'll look out for your questions. If you have any questions, drop in the chat group and tell us where you're calling us, where they are joining us from. So let's take this final question, right? and it's going to be how can you navigate those challenges into and transforming them into faith, into greater faith. Let me tell you where just some perspective. Now you are having you are an executive in your company, right? You're a supply chain expert. You are a teens minister. You work with teenagers all over the world. Which how did you transform from all of those challenges you faced into which of them would you highlight and say that okay, this helped you to become who you are today? So there could be a couple of them, but which of them would you want to quickly talk about in the few minutes that we have left?
Wow. I think that question could take a whole day, right?
Yeah. So
It could take a whole day. So I'll try to. So like I mentioned, challenges are not limited to any age bracket, right? It's because at every point in time, it's just like leaving school. You leave one class. The challenge is to go and face the pressure of the next class, the curriculum of the next class. So yeah, so where I am today, what has shaped me? Let me get the question right. What has shaped me from were the challenges I faced and I overcame that shaped me into what I am today, right?
correct. Yes.
Okay. So I would say that I faced challenges around deciding whether to have this kind of friend with me or
So
not.
choosing your friends.
Choosing your friends,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Because
Yes, we can hear you on Google Meet. Can you reconnect on StreamYard? Okay. Okay, let me. Oh yes, go ahead.
okay, so the kind of friends, selecting the kind of friends, and I think any parent watching this now should also help their children, because selecting the kind of friends I should keep was also linked to the kind of plans I had for myself. So because yes, I can say I had maybe 30 friends growing up, but I can tell you out of those 30, maybe they are just 4, maybe they are just 5 that are very close to me. And when you transition between those ages, some leave, some coming, some leave, some coming, some leave, some coming, because and that's elimination method. I don't know the people that do mathematics, elimination, and this one is not even substitution method, it's elimination, and somebody come back into the scene and that person comes back. So the kind of friends the challenge of who should be your friend is a great challenge, and it also goes a long way in shaping your future, because the kind of friends you keep also helps to shape the kind of focus you're going to have at every stage in time. So I'm keeping a focus or a goal of I want to get into school in 5 years, in 6 years. Somebody is saying whatever happens at the end of secondary school, I will take it like that. I don't think we are going to walk in that direction, because that person is taking that way. The level of focus on this academics will be different. Then also, even if yes, you are going to church, the kind of friends you keep in church also matters, because the church is like a hospital. Both the sick and the healed are in that space. So I would like quarantine or what English will I use now? I'm trying to look for the right words because we are talking to teenagers now. Filter. So I think teenagers should understand separating. So separating just pleasure and thinking of your goal is, I think there's a very thin line, because teenagers can be distracted. One of the challenges a teenager has is distraction. You go to school, distraction because you are still young. And now we didn't have this level of social media then. I think the first time I used the phone was when I was 15. right? And
Okay.
imagine my daughter today is already knowing how to operate a phone. So
Mm.
you can imagine the kind of challenges she's going to have. So it takes me to have a lot of parental control in that aspect. So for me, shaping what shaped me right now, apart from the fact that taking God very serious, the kind of friends I kept, and that is because those kind of friends now, when they are checking up on you, they are checking up on you on how's your spiritual life, Alpha. What's happening? What's happening with your spiritual life? Alpha, what's happening with this? What's happening? Have you prayed about this? Have you done this? And the kind of friends you keep is easy to say. When I wanted to get my mind, I had to share with two of my friends. Say, guy, this is what I'm saying about this so and so lady. Oh. I've not talked to her. I've not done this. Oh. But
Mm.
so that kind of those kind of friends helps you to sanitize your environment,
Yeah, to
helps you
keep
to
your
have
head
a
straight.
clean, to keep your head straight. So there's a focus. So you know that you guys are having almost similar plans. Yes, but the plan is he wants to get somewhere in next 6 years. So most of my friends now they have PhD, even if me I'm running away from PhD, right? But
So
you
maybe
know that
maybe you should have your PhD. Maybe that's prophetic.
uh, maybe that one can be peer pressure now. You get
No, you have Pastor Doctor Yemi on the call as well. So maybe you can gain some inspiration from him. Thank you for joining, sir. Okay, go ahead. Yes. Okay.
you know, and
Mm.
so and they need a yes, it was not significant, at the point in time in my life, he needed to come into that circle because of the kind of morals and virtues and values that we share together. At the point in time, we'll be the only one in the office after everybody has gone home. We are listening to sermon. We are listening to at the point in time I was listening to Apostle Joshua Selman. He also was connected to him. That was the end of work from like 6 o'clock to like 8 o'clock. We are listening to Joshua Selman. So you can imagine if I was somebody else and listening to the kind of music, secular music. So the kind of friends for me was a great impact. The kind of friends that in my circle, even till now, they are still a great impact. Like, can imagine, say my convener is my very good friend. You can imagine, maybe somebody is not, maybe it's not. If I was not in the circle or was not in my circle, maybe I would not even have this opportunity. Maybe I was a bad influence. I will not even be in the circle. He also will not even be in my circle because I will not want the pastor to be in my circle to be preaching to me and saying you are a bad person. So you understand. So the kind of people that are in your circle as teenagers, apart from your parents, apart from your siblings, people because your siblings you are not with them every time. You go to school, you go out, you go for fun, you go to school away from. So this is one of them with me now that is saying daddy, daddy, daddy. She understand. So the kind of influence is a very key factor in shaping the lives of people. Influence, and that influence is the kind of people you have in your circle. And I think, like I said, for parents, my parents were always particular about the kind of friends I had. They always wanted to know them. Who is this person? They want to meet this person. So I didn't have a challenge female friends coming to my house, right? Because there was nothing to hide. Like that kind of thing. Sometimes my phone will ring. My mom will say, just jokingly, your girlfriend has called you. She can easily pick my phone. She can do things. So the kind of friends that I had helped with the kind of life I'm living now and I want to live in next
Mm.
10 years. And like I said, that plan that I had is still so at the end of 20 years, I think we had 5, 10, 15. So it made us have 5 years plan, 10 years plan, 15 years plan, 20 years plan. So that kind of influence helped to at the end of 20 years, you already have 20 years. So before 20 years, you're already setting another plan for yourself.
Another
So
set.
that also
Yes.
so that also helped with after BSc, what next? So while other people were thinking of I need to go and get a job, there was already a plan that this person I need to go for my masters,
Mm.
right?
And
So
now you
applying
need to go
for
for your
Chevron
PhD.
or NLNG. What do you say, sir?
I said, and now you need to go for your PhD.
Okay, maybe I'll go and sit down and set up another 20 years
Another
plan.
plan. That's not 20 years plan. Oh. Okay, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's been an awesome time sharing together. So personally, for me, it's been an awesome time sharing together. Thank you for coming on the first
I
the
appreciate it.
maiden
I appreciate
edition of
it.
Emerge. Thank you for spurring me on, for spurring us on this vision, and looking forward to another session with you. So For everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us right here. So I'll just leave it up if there are any questions from the rest of the team. So we can see MJ here. Uh,
Say
hey,
hello.
how you doing? So
Hello.
this is one of the fruits of the 15-year plan.
A wave. Say
Hey,
hello.
say hello everyone. Good to see you. Okay. So if we do we have any questions? If you have any question, you could drop it in the chat group and then we could quickly take it. If not, we will take drop your questions on the Slido link. We'll share you emails after on you can rewatch the video and ask follow-up questions. So like I said, join us July 12th, same time. We're going to be hosting one of our own is Dr. Ojima Wada. He is a researcher in Qatar, and he will be sharing us with us how he came on his own journey and the things that God has helped him to achieve. So this is the first edition of Emerge. So thank you so much. Let's put our hands together. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so grateful. So let me just leave you for with any parting words. Just share any quick thoughts with us as we wrap up this edition.
Okay, so I think everybody knows it's a science logic. Input is equal to output, right? So what comes into your life determines what will flow out of your life, and what is going to happen. And I saw it in because I read a lot of business news, a lot of career things, and one of the things that struck me studying, I think the past 2 3 weeks, is about many people think 15 years ago is a long time until we remember that 2010 was not really far away.
Mm.
You can remember what happened in 2010. So it means that the actions you take today has a very great impact in your future in the next 10 or 40 years. So now it's very important to be serious about now so that tomorrow you will not be regretting and saying, I die known, like we say in Nigeria, I die known. I don't know whether it's a slogan out of Nigeria, but I die known, I die known, I die known. So what has happened when I was 10 and I listened to what I was told to do? Thank God I'm not saying I die known, I listen then, right? So thank you. I think that's that from me.
Okay, thank you so much. So you had it there. In order to avoid regrets, do what you have to do. Choose the friends you have to go with. Choose your relationship with God. Prioritize your relationship with God, and then have a 5-year plan. Let me say that again. Have a 5-year plan.
5 year
So
plan.
whether you are
Mm.
10 years old, whether you are 15 years old, have a 5-year plan, and after that, have another 10-year plan. That way, you've seen how his life is panning out, and I know that he will go from glory to glory, and he will go from strength to strength. So thank you so much for joining us. So just drop any emojis in the chat group, and we just say thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much, and we look forward to have you in another 2 weeks when we're going to have another exciting edition. Of course, this is just the first time we're having our friend. He works with teenagers all over the world, and he is a business executive. He does sales. You know, that's something I wish I would be able to do. He does sales. He leads that regionally for a multinational company, and he's doing very well in his career. And he's married, and he has a beautiful daughter, which you saw on the screen earlier. So thank you so much for joining. Till we come your way next time, have a wonderful time. So subscribe and join our channels on across our social media links at Tweens and Teens Emerge. So at Tweens and Teens Emerge, the Tweens and Teens have two E's. So it is TWEENS and is spelled out ANDTEENS. Emerge is EMERGE. So across all social media handles, you find us at Tweens and Teens Emerge, and on YouTube as well. So this video will be on YouTube. So as even if you're watching this video much later, make sure that you send us a an encouragement and just reach out to us. And then if you have any questions, we'll be glad and more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all those that joined and those that will be watching this video later. Thank you, Olumide, and thank you, Omolayo. Till we meet again, God bless you. Shalom.